You held back the scream so many times that it became a whisper. And this murmur, over time, was called patience. But the right name, maybe it was anger. Quiet anger, elegant anger, well-mannered anger. The one that doesn't destroy on the outside, but corrodes on the inside. It's her you sleep with, and it's her we're going to talk to. Tonight, you sleep understanding the anger you've been calling patience. Before you relax, please like and subscribe. It helps me continue creating these stories for you. And tell me where you are hearing this story from. It's always magical to know where you dream of me. Now, close your eyes and listen, not with your ears, with your chest. Because that's where this story lives. Have you ever wondered why you feel so exhausted, even though you haven't done anything wrong? Why is the simple act of giving in so tiring? Nietzsche said that resentment is the emotion of those who cannot express themselves. And maybe what you call maturity, just be afraid of exploding. Because inside, you are already in ruins. You learn to endure, enduring in silence, listening without responding, smiling as they digest their dignity, and still be thankful for that. But it's not patience. It's self-abandonment with a nice name. You hold the word stuck in your throat. Hold on because it's not worth arguing, because you are the mature one, the evolved one. But Nietzsche would say that this control can be poison. That which doesn't come out ferments, and what ferments one day explodes, or rot you in silence. You are not calm. You are restrained. There is a brutal difference between peace and passivity, and you've been confusing the two, out of fear, out of habit. For this vice disguised as virtue bearing too much, until there's nothing left of you. And the worst part is that everyone praises you. How patient you are, how understanding you are, but no one sees the cost of this. Because inside, you're screaming, and no one listens, because you learn to whisper your own pain. Nietzsche said, those who cannot express their pain become pain. And maybe you have become what you never dared to say, not out of weakness, but out of excess restraint. You didn't lose your anger. You hid it, and it, like everything that is repressed, took root. Deep roots beneath your supposed calm. This anger does not want to destroy. She wants to exist. She wants to be recognized as a part of you. You call it patience because you need to look good. But Nietzsche would tell you, the good that is not true is prison. And you were arrested for wanting to appear elevated. You wait for time to pass thinking it will get better. But time does not heal. Time reveals. And what he revealed in you was this silent contradiction. You put up with too much and love yourself too little. You accept too much and abandon yourself in the process. This is not virtue. It is suicide in installments. You repeat emotional control mantras. But Nietzsche would ask you control for what? To not bother, to be accepted, or to avoid confronting your own anger. The truth is, you don't have to control it. You need to listen to her. And she's talking to you now. She doesn't scream, she weighs. She is that nausea when giving in once again. That insomnia you call racing mind. That guilt that appears when you think about choosing yourself. She is what you felt but never dared to say. Do you want to know what real patience is? It's a choice, not an obligation. It's when you know you could explode, but you choose not to hurt yourself. But what you live is not that. It's not knowing where you start anymore, and where the others end. You've gotten used to being the balance of everything, keeping the environment peaceful, the conversation smooth, the affections intact. But who balances you? Who listens to your raw, ugly, brutal truth? You don't know anymore, because he stopped asking a long time ago. Nietzsche would not be ashamed of his anger. He would call it the unexpressed life force, of blocked momentum, of power without direction. Anger, when not expressed, makes you sick. When it doesn't explode, it implodes, and you are slowly imploding. You look in the mirror and see a calm expression, but your stomach hurts, your muscles are tense. You grind your teeth at night. You dream about arguments that never happened. The body speaks what the mouth keeps silent. Patience became a mask, and now it weighs more than any scream. You learned that love is understanding, but understanding without limits becomes permission to be hurt, and you have allowed a lot. They've let it get passed over again and again, in the name of peace, in the name of love. But where are you in all this? Anger is not a mistake. She is a warning, a boundary crossed, a value violated. When you ignore it, it doesn't go away. It comes back in worse forms: cynicism, coldness, indifference. And that isn't you either. You no longer know if you're tired or just resentful. Resentful for everything he swallowed, for everything you endured smiling, for being strong when everything inside you screamed for caution. Nietzsche called this the morality of the weak disguised as virtue. It's time to look at this with courage. Anger wants space, not to destroy, but to exist. She wants to be heard, understood, named. She wants to show you where it hurts, want to point out what hurts you, and for that reason, she is one of its greatest teachers. You don't have to become cruel, but you need to stop keeping quiet. Holding in anger doesn't make you a good person, makes you a silent bomb, which either implodes or explodes meaninglessly, and neither path sets you free. Nietzsche would say you must become who you are. But how can you do this without silencing what you feel? How to be whole while hiding halves? How can you truly love without showing what hurts? You deserve the chance to be authentic, even if this scares those who have become accustomed to their docility. You don't need approval, need truth. And the truth sometimes comes with anger, with limits, with discomfort, but also with self-respect. And respect starts with you. You never screamed. But how many times did you want to? How many times have you wanted to say enough and swallowed hard? How many times have you accepted injustice with a tired smile? How many times have you disguised your pain to keep the mood light? You are not weak. You are overwhelmed. Nietzsche said that he who has a why can bear almost any how. But your why was changed to must. You endure because you believe you must. It must be calm. It must be good. It should hold. But meaningless duty becomes a prison. You owe no one anything if it costs you your soul. Anger is your soul saying, "I'm suffocating here," and you pretend it's maturity. But true maturity is knowing when to stop. Stop ignoring yourself. Stop hurting yourself in the name of fragile bonds. You think you're being loving, but he is being servile. There is a difference. Servitude is not love. It is fear. And the fear of losing the other is making you lose yourself. You need to find yourself again. Anger, in Nietzsche, is power. It is life that refuses to accept lies. And the lie you lived was that being good was being mute, but to be good is to be whole. It's not keeping quiet when you're hurt. It's not smiling when you fall apart. You tried to be light, but he forgot that even light needs contrast. There is no light without shadow. And your shadow is loaded with everything. You avoided feeling. It's full of swallowed sentences, of limits never drawn. Do you want to be respected? So stop being nice when you feel angry. Stop over-explaining. Stop accepting the unacceptable. Respect is born when the other person realizes that you have edges and that not everything is negotiable. Nietzsche spoke of the will to power, from a vital impulse that wants to grow, expand, assert itself. Your anger is this, a stifled desire for power. She doesn't want to fight. She wants space to exist. She wants to be included in your version of you. You don't need to cure yourself of anger. You need to listen to her until she says what she came to teach. She came to show you that you put yourself off for too long, that you silenced your truth to maintain fragile bonds. She doesn't want revenge. She wants reconciliation with who you were before you went silent. And if today you feel this restlessness in your chest, that lump in your throat, that desire to disappear for a while, don't blame yourself. Maybe it's your soul trying to wake you up. Maybe it's Nietzsche whispering, You did not come into this world to fit in, but to overflow. You don't have to explode to be real. You just need to stop pretending. Pretending everything is okay when it's not. Pretending to cope when you can barely breathe. Pretending to understand when all you want is to be understood. This performance is tiring, and you are tired. Nietzsche would say that which is not expressed takes revenge, and his anger takes revenge in the form of apathy, in the form of distance from those you love. You close yourself off, you hide, you become even more silent. But what you need is to reveal yourself, even if it scares you. You're afraid of losing people if you start saying how you feel. But think whoever strays from their truth, would he really be by your side? Or were you using the version you created to be accepted? You have the right to exist without mutilating yourself to fit in. You have the right not to fit. Anger is your soul saying, I matter, and you need to start listening, not to react, but to rescue. Rescue your voice, rescue your border, rescue your name. You don't have to hold everything anymore. Don't even pretend to be mature when everything inside you is a storm. Life does not demand emotional perfection. It demands presence. And presence includes contradictions. It includes chaos. It includes anger. It includes love. Nietzsche would never call you weak for feeling angry. He would call you awake. I wake up to the absurdity of keeping quiet in the name of a peace that doesn't exist. You deserve true peace, the one that comes after courage, not the one that comes from fear. You spent too much time trying to be understood. Now it's time to understand yourself, to embrace the part of you that was called difficult, intense, exaggerated. She is not a problem. She is you asking for space, asking for ground, and you can give yourself that ground with words, with limits, with pauses, with a new definition of patience. Patience that does not cancel itself, that does not repress itself, but who chooses to love without forgetting. Anger doesn't have to be war. She can be a compass. It can be language. It may be the most honest way to say, this hurts me. You just need to relearn how to listen to that language and accept that it is also part of love. Nietzsche said that you need to have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star. Maybe your anger is this chaos, and maybe now you are very close to giving birth to your star. She doesn't scream. She shines in silence, but only after the storm was recognized. You close your eyes, and anger takes shape. She's not a monster. She's not smoke. She is you younger, the version that still said what he felt, before learning that being loved was being still. You look at her. She looks back at you, not with fury, but with hurt. She doesn't hate you for silencing her. She just wants to be remembered. He wants to tell you everything he felt for you, and everything he had to swallow in its place. You walk towards that image, but the ground changes. It's not solid anymore. It is made up of unsent letters, deleted messages, avoided discussions. You tread carefully, because there everything still hurts. Nietzsche would say what was repressed returns with greater force. And now, the force is not destructive. It's rough but beautiful. It pulses like a truth that is tired of hiding. It wants to be danced, written, cried. She wants to exist. You enter a dark hallway. On the walls, phrases you never said. I'm tired too. You hurt me. I need space. They glow dimly, but they are alive. Every step you take in this hallway is a liberation. Your body feels lighter, the emptiest mind, not by escape, but because you are finally making space. Space for you. You play one of the phrases with your fingertips. It dissolves into light, and in doing so, a memory returns. The first time you kept quiet to please. The first time he confused fear with patience. You were a child, and it hurt. It's not your fault that you learned to be silent. You just wanted to be loved. And now you love yourself enough to listen to yourself, even if the voice still comes out shaky, even if the words are still few. You are speaking. Anger now sits beside you. She doesn't need to push you anymore. You welcomed her. And so she rests. She doesn't want war. She just wanted home. You close your eyes inside the dream, and the silence that forms is different. It is not the silence of containment. It is the silence of presence, of the one who is whole, even in the midst of chaos. You walk through a forest, but trees are made of unspoken words, fragile branches, hollow trunks, roots braided with resentment. The floor creaks with every step, as if waking up, awakening to what you tried to forget. Up ahead, there is a bonfire. It burns slow, but it does not consume. She transforms. The heat doesn't hurt. He reveals. You get closer and realize this fire is made of your anger. Every spark is a swallowed sentence. Each ember, a limit surpassed. But now you can warm yourself in it, because it doesn't destroy you anymore. Nietzsche would say, oh, that which burns purifies. And maybe you are starting to purify yourself, not for forgiveness, but for lucidity, because he understood that he could no longer forget, nor be silent forever. You sit by the fire and sees faces, everyone who has ever hurt you in silence, but they don't talk. They just watch you, and you finally look back at yourself. There is no confrontation, just recognition. The fire slowly breaks them down, because you no longer need them to validate your pain. The pain has already been accepted, and so she starts to leave. Anger dances around you. She is not a threat, it is presence. It is a golden serpent made of impulse and truth. It surrounds you, and you let her stay. You get up, and everything starts to dissolve. The trees turn into vapor, the sky in fog, the earth in music, and you in breathing. You now walk on the sound. Each step echoes inside the chest. And the more you walk, the less weight you carry. You're not leaving, it's coming back, to a place that never demanded silence from you. The fire is still there, but now it doesn't burn with anger. Burn for clarity. You understand patience is not silencing. The soul, it's knowing when to listen to it. And today you listened, you breathe, and the air enters more lightly. Not because the world has changed, but because you allowed yourself to breathe without fear. Every cell listens to the silence, and in it, rest. Anger now rests within his chest like a sleeping animal. She doesn't need to defend you anymore, because you chose to protect yourself with presence, with voice, with limit, with self-love. Nietzsche would smile if he could, because you finally chose the path of power, not brute force, but the strength that knows how to stop, who knows how to retreat, who knows how to say, not here. You are in a nameless place, between the real and the symbolic, between what has passed and what will be. But here, now, nothing needs to happen. You might just be. Being at peace with what you felt. The words begin to disappear. They melt like snow when touched by the skin. Because now, what matters is no longer what was said. That's what was felt. And you felt everything. Until the last rage. You touch your own chest and feel warmth. It's not a fever. It's a presence. It's the body saying, thank you for not ignoring me. You ask yourself for forgiveness, not because I felt angry, but for calling her something she wasn't. You float over old memories, but they don't pull you. They rock you. These are scenes without pain, without haste, without the need for explanation. The past no longer charges. He just rests. And with him, you also rest. The pillow recognizes you. The dark respects you. Silence is finally home. You don't need to watch the world anymore. It will continue to spin without your restraint. You really close your eyes now, not to run away, but to keep listening from within. Inside, everything is lighter, softer, more yours. You sleep, but what awakened in you cannot be erased. It keeps shining, like a dancing star born from chaos, and it shines in the center of your sleep. You don't have to think anymore. The mind lies with you. She rests beside him like an exhausted animal that has finally found shelter. No questions now. There are no ideas spinning around like lost satellites. Only the gravity of rest. The body opens like a flower in the shade. Every muscle sheds its armor. Each bone settles into lightness. Anger turned to warm ash, spreading beneath the skin. And you, finally, are at peace. Not because he won, but because he allowed it. Nietzsche said that all true growth begins after the fall. You came to your senses. He saw himself completely. And he got up not with force, but with kindness. The rarest of powers. Now, time slows down. He doesn't run after you anymore. He watches you sleep, like someone protecting a temple, because you are this now a temple where chaos rested. Sleep arrives like an old friend. He doesn't speak. It only touches you with shadow fingers. And you understand it's time. Time to go without being absent. Time to sleep without disappearing. Everything in you is rhythm now. Breathing aligns with the beats of the world. You feel like you belong, not to a place, but to a state. The state of no longer needing to pretend. You dream of places that don't exist outside of you. Dream of forests that breathe, with words that dance, with faces that hug you without saying anything. Dream about you without fear. No forced silence, just be. The bed becomes a boat. The sheet, wind. You sail the ocean of what you now understand. There are no storms, just internal tides calming down, and the horizon has no end. Nietzsche left. You a gift before he went. A note left on the threshold of a dream. It is written, you have endured too much. Now, it's time to live. Even if for that you need to sleep first. You smile without opening your eyes. And that smile is everything. It's an answer. It's closure. It's a promise that tomorrow you wake up more yours. You no longer know where it ends. The body, the bed, the dark, it's all one thing. A loving mass of oblivion, of permission. Forgive me. You don't sleep, you transform. The name they gave you slowly fades away. Each letter falls like a leaf in the autumn of the self. It's not sad. It is sacred. You are returning to the Propheer state. The one where being was enough. You see a half-open door. This time, there is no hesitation. You come in, and there's no one waiting for you inside, because inside there is only you. Whole, calm, true. Nietzsche would say, he who looks within awakens, and you are awakening within. Not awake, but awake. What is there is stillness. It is a clarity that needs no form. It is being without demands. The room where you rest now has open windows. But the wind doesn't come in, because you no longer need something to come from outside. Everything is here, in your presence, in your soft breathing. You think about all the times you kept quiet, but now that doesn't weigh on me anymore. It became a reconciled memory. You understand that was what you could do, and that is enough. You did what you could. The pillow feels softer, not because it changed, but because your tension has gone. Out of the picture, the body loosens, the heart no longer defends itself. You are safe here. Anger sleeps with you, not as a threat, but as part of the family that is you. It has a place. It has a voice. But now she also rests. The world keeps turning, but you no longer spin with it at distressing speed. You spin in your own orbit, slower, more lucid, more yours, more free. And there, in the silence that no one taught you, you found what no one could give you, to yourself. Not in perfection, but in truth. And this truth lulls you. You hear a sound. It is not external. It's like a breath coming from within. It has no word form. It's just the sound of something that has been silent for too long. Now whispering freedom. You're not trying to sleep anymore. It is allowing. It's different. Now the body trusts, the soul rests. Anger has become history, and history now has become silence. Nietzsche said that whoever has the courage to confront himself no longer needs to fear the world. And you confronted yourself. Look in the mirror of what you feel. And he didn't deviate. Now you can sleep like someone who has already lived through a war and survived with tenderness. You find yourself in a field of fine sand. Each grain is a word that no longer needs to be said. They form the ground your bare feet walk on. Light, loose, no rush to arrive. You find a tree in the center. She doesn't speak, but it offers shade, and under that shade you lie down. Not to escape the sun, but to feel the world without filters. You dream of gestures, not with scenes. Gestures that were yours. A hug that never happened. A no that stayed in my chest. Now they dance in the air like feathers. Time no longer weighs. The night no longer oppresses. You are no longer in debt to what you feel. Anger taught you the limit. And sleep, now, teaches you forgetfulness. Not what erases, but what transforms. You are low light in a dark room. A hot spot in the middle of the vast. And that is enough. You don't have to prove anything anymore. Not the sigh. Not even to the world. You sleep like someone who has finally accepted that you don't always have to be strong. That may be vulnerable. It may fail. You can feel it. And even so, it still deserves a rest. Still deserves love. The last thing you hear before you pass out, it's the silence saying now, I keep you, and you let yourself go. Like someone who went back to the beginning, like someone who never stopped being whole. You dream about water. She doesn't drown you. She sustains you. You float on the surface of what you felt. Anger turned into a gentle current, and you can't resist anymore. Every thought is now a cloud. Pass, touch, disappear. You don't hold anything anymore. No ideas, no pain, no memories. The mind turned to heaven. And you, the wind that blows. Nietzsche would say that the free spirit is the one who has already burned his own maps. And you burned. Not the maps of the world, but those of the image they created of you. Now you navigate by instinct. And that is freedom. You hear a distant sound, like a bell underwater. He doesn't call. Just confirm you are here. Here where it all began. Here where nothing weighs anymore. The room falls apart. The name is erased. The story dissolves into a dream. And the body just rests, as if he had come home. You find yourself sitting on top of a mountain. There is no wind. There is no noise. Just a clear sky. And an ancient presence. In the presence of himself. You feel a tap on your shoulder. It's not physical. It's a souvenir. From when you were a child and cried in secret. Now, someone sees you. And that someone is you as an adult. You hold your own hand. And says, now you can feel it. There is no judgment in this gesture, just welcoming. Only love that doesn't demand behavior. Just presence that doesn't ask for an explanation. You fall asleep within a circle of soft light. There is no beginning. There is no end. Just an infinite breath. You are part of it. You are her. Nietzsche. Survive, but it leaves an echo, not a sentence, a feeling. What to live for, despite everything, is still the greatest of courage. You sleep in circles, each turn deeper than the last. You don't sink, you settle. Like sand shaped by the tide. You don't disappear. You reintegrate yourself. Your body no longer feels the same way it used to. Now he welcomes you, does not require. No charge. It opens like a silent temple, and you go in. Nietzsche said that the greatest moments in life come without sound, and perhaps this is the biggest of all. There is no stage, there is no audience, just you, inside yourself, sleeping in truth. You dream about what you don't need to understand. Abstract shapes, colors that don't exist, nameless sensations. And that is the closest thing to freedom. Because there is no language, just presence without form. You become a field, not of battle, but at rest. Tensions gather like hibernating animals. Nothing threatens, nothing waits. You are lying in the center of the universe, and he circles around you with respect, not like a king, but as someone who finally understood its value. The world asks nothing more of you. It just rocks you. Time bows to its sleep. The hands do not move. The hours don't count. You are out, or too much inside, at the point where all is one. You smile without realizing it, because what was left behind no longer hurts. It was transmuted. Anger turned into a breath, and the breath turned into peace. Nothing rushes you, nothing pushes you. The night covers you with care, and in the dark you bloom. No eyes, no urgency. You are silence now, not the silence of absence, but the silence of completeness. And in that silence, you rest, like someone who has finally been seen. You don't dream anymore. You are the dream, not from someone, but from your own soul. She imagined you whole, and now you have become everything. Around pulses slowly, as if the universe breathes with you. There is no conflict, just rhythm, an old forgotten compass. But it was always yours. You see a faint light, not far away within. She doesn't reveal anything, but it warms up, like an affection without words, like a longing without an object. Nietzsche said that to live is to suffer, but it is also transforming this suffering into art. And you transformed. His anger turned into a gesture, his gesture turned to silence, and his silence turned into sleep. You are between worlds. It no longer belongs to the weight, not even to fear. You float in memory, in presence, in truce. Everything welcomes you. Nothing demands you. His name fades last, not as oblivion, but as a return to a state prior to language, prior to trauma, prior to containment. You become essence again. It becomes a breath again. Go back to being the one who felt without fear, the one who looked at the world as a whole. Now that world is within and watches you sleep. Anger became fertile ground. There, new ways of being emerge. More honest, cleaner, more yours. And they bloom while you rest. You hear a final sound, not voice, but of acceptance, as a symbolic seal that confirms you can sleep now, because you came back. And there, where you cease to exist, is that he began to dream like never before.